Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello and welcome. Welcome to your February monthly energy impressions. And at the end, I will touch on some specifics for your intuitive week of February 2nd. But the main focus of this episode is all about the themes for this month, for the second month of this calendar year. And I'm excited to get into it. The meditation was quite strong and very clear with some deep, I would say, quite deep symbolism. So I will share that in a moment. And I wanted to let everyone know that the two spaces that were open for beginning the key, my 4-month journey in February have been filled. So those are closed for now. And the next opening will be in April. I'll share closer to then, but as always, feel free to reach out about any of my intuitive and healing services. You can book a one-on-one session with me. Many of my clients like to do that first before they commit to the full journey. So, yes, feel free to reach out with anything. And also a reminder about my free meditation circles that I offer on Insight Timer. If you are not on there already, it is such a great resource. And I do weekly live meditations where most of the time you do also receive group energy healing. And it is a really great resource to use. If you are not already, give it a try. There are millions of meditations to listen to. You can listen to mine, and then you can also join my live events. So don't forget to connect with me there, and all the links are in the show notes. And oh, one more thing. I do have my Substack where I share a snapshot of each weekly energy impression. So make sure that you're subscribed to my Substack so that you get a weekly energy update and a reminder about these episodes. And a quick recap of how I get and tune into and receive these energy updates. What I do is I go into a nice, deep meditation with the intention to receive insight, guidance, symbolism, messages, literally anything that I can translate with as much clarity as I can through my intuition for you and me. It's for all of us. It is with the intention to help us remember what we need to know for this month ahead and the week when I'm doing the weekly ones. So use them as a way to develop your intuition and develop the trust of your intuition. When it feels like what I'm sharing is a message for you, when it really connects with something or somewhere in your life, trust that. And then trust when it doesn't. Don't try to make it fit. This is a great way to start to practice discernment with the language of your intuition. And that language is not always spoken. The language of our intuition can speak in so many ways, not just in the way that you may think it should be. So pay attention to your feelings, your knowing, pay attention to any kind of insight or memory or symbol that comes to you. Pay attention to your imagination. Pay attention to a song that comes to you. Like, really pay attention to what you are receiving. And then also trust the discernment of your intuition, whether it is something to pay attention to or not. So, really utilize everything that I share as a way for you to connect deeper to your own intuition. So I will share what came through in the meditation and how I interpreted and translated it. And then I will share the animal that came through for the month to help inspire and guide us. And then I will share some writing prompts soul questions. You can use them as journal prompts or just answer them to yourself in a voice note. And these are to help you dive deeper into the energy for the month ahead. And listening to these energy impressions at the beginning of the month are, of course, kind of the more traditional way to do it, but I would encourage you to also maybe check in with them in 2 weeks, kind of a midpoint check in, because you may have a lot of clarity around what happens over the first 2 weeks of the month with what I have received for the whole month. So let's dive into the February energy impressions for the month ahead. So when I first opened up the meditation, you and I, the person in the meditation that represents both of us, we were holding a red feather and we were using it as a writing tool. And we wrote down in cursive on kind of an older sheet of paper, slow but steady. So we wrote with this red feather as kind of a quill in cursive writing, slow but steady. And the ink was also red. And there are two big pieces that I feel like this is sharing with us. First, the red of our root, of our first energy center, our security, our safety, the foundation of our energetic channel, that it is more stable than we might feel it is. But also that we need for this month to connect and trust in any delays or redirections that we feel can kind of undermine our security or safety, maybe that feel like a threat to our foundation, that is actually a sign for us to connect and root into that first energy center, to really embody and ground our energy, to bring your energy into that base, that anchored, rooted foundation of your energy when something may happen that can cause us and our life to go in a different direction, maybe slower than expected, anything that may rock the perceived foundation of our life. It's not actually impacting it in a way that we're perceiving it. That any slowness is asking us to reconnect to that steadiness and security within us so that we don't stop, that we are writing our story and that we have the power to do it, but we have to honor the rhythm, that we shouldn't push ahead or quit something because it's going slower than we expected. And as we were writing that slow and steady, because it's not always that a full kind of message in words come through in the meditation, and I really wanted to pay attention to it because of that. So as we were writing, because of the formality of it, because it was in that cursive writing and the red feather was like a quill, so very old school, it felt like this month you may be asked to sign a contract or make a commitment to really put it in writing. And that can be figurative, that can be metaphorical, like making a commitment to yourself, really committing and offering yourself that discipline. So when you're not feeling motivated to take that step, when you feel like quitting because something is going too slow, when you're second guessing yourself, you can go back to that commitment that you made to yourself. And this commitment, this true kind of certainty, this supports our root. This helps our root energy center. It supports our feelings of security and safety within when the outside world is impacting the truth of that. Feathers also connect us to messages from the heavens, from the divine. Birds are messengers, a bridge between earth and sky. connecting us to that spiritual energy, helping us come down to earth like the bird does. They fly high, but then they land and they bring the news. And because the feather was red, symbolizing the root, but it also felt like it was symbolizing our blood. So this month could be for us to reconnect to our literal blood, to our ancestral lineage, to our life force, to our family line, to the talents and the creativity and the wisdom that we've inherited, but also to the stories and the fears and the pressures and the responsibilities that run through us, that are held in our blood and run through our hearts and our souls and our spirit. This month, you may be guided to look at any story that you have inherited and notice whether it's something that is helpful to you now in your present, helpful to you reclaiming your power, or a story that keeps you from being in your power and walking your own path. Maybe there's a family history of keeping others from their power. Maybe you need to look at that and create a way to make peace and reconciliation for the acts of your family line. There's so much that we inherit, and some of it is so helpful. And some of it is a pattern or a cycle that in this lifetime, we have the opportunity to break free from. And that can also be stories around money and receiving, paying attention to our nervous system this month when we're paying bills or thinking about our bank account. If you feel any form of anxiety or fear, can you bring some grounding embodied energy into your system, down to your root? Do you need to look at the different ways you can start working with money that move you away from fear? Do you need to be giving more? Maybe you've grown up with and are conditioned by ideas and stories around money that are not helpful to you. This is the month to break free of that. And if you're unsure, an example could be feeling unsafe, to be seen as you are, to be seen in your talents and expression, to be seen in your emotional vulnerability, to be seen in your gifts and abilities, to feel unsafe with too many eyes on you. The superstition of too many eyes create bad luck or ill intention. That's part of the evil eye history that is cross-cultural. Not trusting yourself to be out in the open, that we are vulnerable to the ill intentions of others. So we created a symbol to guard against it, an ancient symbol. But is that true now? Does that give your power away? Does that make you not as responsible? Paying attention to the intentions of everything that you do this month. And that may feel overwhelming, but you most likely won't remember to do it for everything. But if you remember for a few, that could be really helpful this month. Looking at other kind of family superstitions or traditions and noticing what you do just in case something bad is going to happen. And I'm not speaking to not paying attention to anything like low vibe or negative or entertaining something bad, because then you are putting out into the universe that something bad is going to happen. And then that frequency will come back at you, like any of those spiritual superstitions, I'll call them. Not that way. And if you do have that, what is the intention of you feeling that way? Is it because you are maybe feeling out of control of your life? That you're not trusting that you have ownership over your actions and what you can handle and what you can do? That you're not feeling like your strength is enough? So you need the universe to be strong and high vibe too? There's a feeling this month of moving past like really deep held fears. Now, some of these fears are very real, so not minimizing real fear. But this month, you could have the opportunity to rewrite your story of any fears that are inherited, that are not true for you now, that are not helping, that were protecting you, but are now keeping you hidden and holding you back. So, rewriting your story, starting something new, reclaiming your beginning, honoring the end to the inherited stories that keep you from believing in yourself and your future. And if you haven't ever kind of done anything to connect to this inherited ancestral energy that we all carry, I do have a meditation on Insight Timer called Meet Your Ancestors. And it's a guided meditation to meet your healed ancestors of the highest light, to connect to your connection, and then receive. So if you're unsure what you need to release, if you're unsure what wisdom and talents you have gained and already have, that may be a great meditation for you to reconnect because it's already within you. The meditation just helps you remember. And then I also wanted to share a bit about the red feather symbolism. So this is from colormeanings.com. I thought this was a really beautiful resource as I was looking into it. So from colormeanings.com, feathers have a long and rich history in many cultures, often symbolizing spiritual enlightenment or divine connection. Red feathers in particular are associated with courage and strength. They can represent healing and protection from harm. Red feathers can evoke feelings of joyfulness and even love. They may signify an individual is ready for a change in their life or that something new will soon come your way. In various traditions around the world, people believe that a red feather means you have been blessed, that you are protected and watched over. The presence of a feather could be interpreted as encouragement from celestial beings, telling us to keep going forward, no matter what obstacles lie ahead, that we are on the path toward success. So pay attention to all of those themes in your life as you move forward for the month. And what do you need to focus on, release, and pay attention to? And then the next thing that came through in the meditation, that was kind of a long insight into the first part. But the next thing that came through was we were walking forward on a path. So, quite connected to all of the symbolism I just shared. But we're walking forward on a path, but there is fire on either side of us. So, last week we activated that inner fire. It was ignited in a new way. And now it is burning and thriving, and we are moving through it, but also with it. And it didn't feel scary. It didn't feel like a threat. It felt like our fire available to us. So, how are you going to move with your fire? How are you going to be led by your fire? Be inspired by your fire. Think of it as your creative life force. This fire within you and now all around that is illuminating the next step you need to take. Think of it as your creative life force, that fire that illuminates the next step you need to take. Not only help to guide you in your vision, but help you along. But we can utilize this fire to also help burn away, purify anything that is keeping us from moving forward. We can allow it to burn away the past that is still present in our energy and keeping us from trusting that next step to take, from going slow and steady, trusting the rhythm and the timing rather than feeling cut off because of our expectations not being met, something not happening on our time, so we just stop. In the meditation, we're walking. we're walking like confidently through this fire, with this fire. It doesn't feel like we're in danger. It feels powerful. And it reminds me of when we can really mistake a surge of energy that we feel as anxiety or fear when it is actually our life force and our creative force that can feel hard to contain because we may not be used to it being so expansive in our energy. So then we mistake it for something to be afraid of because we haven't felt it so deeply before. So with our eyes open, walking straight and tall, we are moving through the fire, which again does not feel scary, but it did feel like an intense focus, and also a focus on trust, trusting the next step, trusting that this fire is here to support us, trusting anything that needs to be cleared or purified or reborn. Most likely, burning away the fears, if we allow it, to burn away the fear of what keeps us from trusting ourselves and our choices. And like I mentioned already, we activated that fire last week, this creative fire, this unique fire that we carry. And now we're walking with it and through it. And that could mean that we're also ready to meet any trials or tests we encounter that impact our trust, that impact our confidence or our power. So some endings before the beginnings. And this month we have kind of part one of what I call our energetic new year. Many do too, not just me, but with Lunar New Year on the 17th, the new start. And then part two of the energetic new year is when we open up to spring with the equinox and the astrological new year at the end of March. So really getting not a hold of your fire, but honoring, respecting, and making sure that you understand the power of it and how you can utilize it. That feels like it could be incredibly helpful as we move into the true new year. And then the colors of the fire, the red, the orange, the yellow, this does feel like a message to pay attention and tend to our first three energy centers: our root, red, our sacral, the orange, and our solar plexus, the yellow. Our security and safety in the root, our creativity and fertility and emotional strength and intuition in our sacral, and then our trust, our confidence, our self-expression in our solar plexus. All of these support our heart and help us learn how to receive in a more open way, but also how to give without feeling like we don't have enough. So not only in material ways of giving or receiving, but also giving and receiving inspiration, acting on what we feel called to do. And as we received at the beginning of the meditation, having the confidence, courage, motivation, and trust to act and go slow and steady, to not feel like we're running out of time or that we missed something. Last week, rapid growth was available. And I feel like for a lot of us, that growth bloomed. And we may be surprised by the new road that it kind of directed us to on our path. This new road that requires us to go slow and steady and to trust. One step at a time, allowing our fire to illuminate, trusting that we can move through any trials by the fire, trusting ourselves, but also the unseen support that we carry and that we have connection to every step of the way. And then the next thing that came through in the meditation was a spotlight on our right hand again. Last week was our middle finger, and then this week, the base of our right palm. So what does this mean? Well, in the meridian and kind of organ connection of traditional Chinese medicine, the base of the palm is mapped as connected to our digestive system, our stomach, our liver, our gallbladder, and our spleen. And all of that is connected to our solar plexus and also a bit of our sacral. So this could be a reminder to continue paying attention to what your solar plexus needs. Is it feeling tight? Is it feeling a bit restricted or uneasy? How can you bring more care and attention? But also physically, do you need to maybe switch up your diet a bit? Something that it eases your digestion. Do you need to add more fermented foods or fiber? Maybe something very practical. And then as I shared those physical spaces, I was kind of brought more closely, like my attention was brought to the liver. And the liver is connected to anger in our system. So this also feels like a call to connect to and feel any anger that maybe you weren't even aware of, that you may need to allow this feeling and emotional depth of your anger to move. Maybe write about it, just share about it, speak to it, bring attention. That may be a big part of it as well. And then in the spiritual and kind of palmistry tradition, the base of our palm can connect to our life energy, like our base energy center, like our root, primal instincts, but also our deep intuition. We have the Mount of Venus, which is at the base of the thumb, and that connects to love and vitality. And then we have the Mount of Luna, which is at the base of the pinky, which connects to our imagination and subconscious. So bringing both of those together, we have kind of the heaven and the earth. So maybe what this focus is looking at within your energy where you are feeling disconnected from being that bridge between the rooted, practical, grounded earth and then the beautiful, intuitive, imaginative, magical, and mystical heavens and spirit and air, the ether, the field of energy that we are swimming in all the time. What is in the way of you feeling a connection to both? And then before I share the animal inspiration for February, I did want to tune into any specific guidance for the energy of the week for this week, for February 2nd. And it was one big symbol, and it was a big red poppy, the red poppy flower. Red again. We don't need to go into that symbolism. We already went over it. But a red poppy standing tall, blooming. And then I heard, don't fall asleep. And this felt like for the week ahead, for February 2nd, that we need to pay attention to when we are feeling like we want to disconnect and just numb out, to not fall asleep. That there are a lot of things happening this week that we need to be here for, embodied, grounded. And it did feel like there was something about the energy that we need to move past any disappointment and really open up, which feels like a few aspects to pay attention to for the week. Like I said, kind of notice where you're numbing or pacifying yourself from feeling your feelings, maybe falling asleep to what's happening in the world around you. So where are you feeling a pull to numb or pacify or fall asleep? What habits do you have, or maybe two, that you need to put aside so that you can be clear-headed and grounded and embodied? Poppies are used to make opium, opioids, heroin. I mean, this could be a big sign to wake up to what has been keeping you numb, to what has been keeping you asleep, to something that is needing your clear vision, that you don't need to wait for anyone else to come and wake you up, that you need to wake up to it. What are you being asked to see more clearly? The symbol of the red poppy, it also represents remembrance, adopted as a symbol for World War II of the fallen soldiers in Flanders Fields, and then all of the soldiers, the veterans. So maybe some reverence and remembrance needs focus this week too. What are you being asked to remember? What are you being asked to put more reverence on? And then the last thing that I felt that this could be kind of guiding us for and inspiring us towards for this week is the idea of tall poppy syndrome. And I wanted to look up a definition of it. And this is from Psychology Today. And it was actually published in February 2025. So I like that synchronicity of a February connection. Tall poppy syndrome is a tendency to criticize, undermine, or resent those who achieve notable success. Individuals who rise above the group may be seen as a threat to group harmony. Overcoming tall poppy syndrome requires a shift towards celebrating success as a source of inspiration rather than resentment. So if any of this resonates for you, that does feel like a callback to the insight of releasing the fear and inherited stories from our family line that has kept us safe from scrutiny, that has kept us safe and protected, protecting the group harmony, but also keeping us hidden and suppressed. And what you could do this week is connect to where in your body does this fear of being seen live? Like really pay attention to it. Allow your intuition to show you. It can be abstract. It might not make sense, but get to know where that fear of being seen is held. And then how can you bring the courage you need to break free from the grips of this fear? What do you need? What steps do you need to take? What action? What do you need to tell yourself? What needs to shift? That could be a great focus for this first week of February. And then the animal for February 2026. And it was at the end of the path, lit up by the fire in a very safe and powerful way. And it was a zebra, the wild zebra. And a zebra represents so much. I love immediately the black and white, the yin and the yang, the balance, the harmony, the honoring of our action and our trust and surrender. But I'll share more about the themes that the zebra represents. And as I'm sharing, connect it to where in your life is it kind of highlighting. So the zebra represents the energy of balance, communication, duality, community, releasing your inner critic, joy, self-confidence, empowerment, staying grounded, intuition, clarity, and determination. And there's this really lovely artist and intuitive named Tanya Castile, and her interpretation of the zebra I loved. So I wanted to share her interpretation. So Tanya Castile says, the zebra, with its distinctive black and white stripes and bold demeanor, symbolizes feeling brave. Bravery is the courage to stand firm in the face of adversity, to defend oneself against threats, and to remain true to one's identity despite external pressures. Zebras, when threatened by predators like lions, are known to fight back fiercely, using their powerful hooves to deliver blows that can disable their attackers. This instinctive bravery reflects a deep commitment to survival and self-preservation, demonstrating that standing up for oneself is not just an act of defiance, but a necessary expression of self-worth and dignity. In our lives, the symbolism of zebra reminds us that bravery is not just about facing physical dangers, but also about confronting our inner fears and societal expectations. We can cultivate more bravery by challenging negative self talk, standing up against injustice, and embracing our authentic selves, even when it feels uncomfortable or risky. Just as zebra displays a mohawk in contrasting stripes, you too can express yourself boldly if you wish. If someone is being treated unfairly, showing bravery might involve speaking out, even when it's easier to stay silent. On a more personal level, bravery could mean taking a leap of faith towards a new career, a new relationship, or creative project, despite the fear of failure. By channeling the zebra's strength, we learn to navigate life with a resilient heart, committed to protecting our well being and the truth of who we are. And I felt like those insights were such a beautiful partner to everything that we already shared. And if you do connect with that energy, if that really piqued your intuition, then you can also meditate with this energy. And what does that mean? Getting still, guiding yourself with some nice deep breaths into the depths of yourself. So just going within and then bringing to mind in your imagination a zebra. And then allow your imagination to be the translator for what your intuition wants to share. So just kind of see in your mind's eye what the zebra does, where it goes, maybe what it even says. Allow your imagination to grow and bloom and share with you what you may need to know. And the zebra can help to activate that. So try that this month if that feels right. I encourage you to do it. You have all the power and talent and intuitive ability to really do that. You just have to trust yourself and trust that your imagination can be a translator for all of your intuitive knowledge. And now let's get into some soul questions. These are writing prompts, journal prompts, and they will help you dive deeper into what you need to know about this month ahead. So the first question could be, what commitment do you need to make to yourself this month? And number two, what story have you inherited from your family line that is keeping you from breaking out on your own? And number three, where in your body does the fear of being seen live? Ask your intuition to show you. Describe how it feels and any insights or wisdom that come to you when you connect to it. And then number four, what expectations do you need to let go of? And how can you replace expectations with trust? And I shared this last week, but just another reminder that with any spiritual or personal development, I do believe that we must also meet that with actions that not only serve our personal development, but the development of the community, of the world around you. Human rights around the world have been under attack for a long time, but right now there is ongoing horrific violence and cruelty perpetrated by the US administration and also the regime in Iran. The people of Iran need our eyes and our ears and to help spread the word of what they are going through. And there are resources in the show notes for ways to help and support the people that need our help. And there, of course, are people everywhere in the world that need our help. And those are a few right now, but there are many more. So follow your instincts, follow your intuition, open your eyes, do not fall asleep, and make sure that you're at least offering something to someone else to support in your own community and in the world community that we are all a part of. And that brings us to the end of your February energy impressions with a bit about the week ahead for your intuitive week of February 2nd. Thank you so much for listening. And I would love to hear if you resonated with any of the energy that I shared about what we're moving through for this month. And if you have any thoughts or questions about anything, please don't hesitate to send me a message. You can do it through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram at treenlight. Don't forget to check out my Substack so you can get the energetic snapshot. And if you feel called to give some support, then share this episode with a friend, or you could leave a review. That would be super helpful. So thank you so much again. Be extra kind to yourself and others. And I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful. Cat.